Hello Russian learners, Oksana here, welcome to my channel. So today, as usual, we are going on with our Russian studies, and I think today will be a great day to talk about some Russian adjectives. I already made some videos about Russian adjectives, so if you haven't watched them, I'll link to them in the description under the video. And when learning adjectives, no matter in what language, I always think that it is best to learn them in these groups of adjectives with the opposite meaning. So you learn one adjective and straight away you learn another one, which means the opposite than the first one. So basically you learn two adjectives at a time that represent the opposite notions. So today we also will be talking about these opposite adjectives, and only we'll take two of them in particular, which you can see on your screens. And these two adjectives for today's lesson that we're going to be talking about are горячий, and холодный. So these two adjectives are pretty commonly used in the Russian language as well as in English, because they mean hot and cold, and there is a lot of things that can be described as either горячий, hot, or cold, холодный. So let us talk more about these adjectives, and of course we'll also be learning their meanings, and we'll be writing down some phrases with these adjectives. So as you know, Russian nouns always have three versions, three forms depending on their gender, and either singular or plural forms. And the same thing concerns the adjectives. The adjectives typically are used with the nouns. They are giving the characteristics to the nouns they're used with. And so the adjectives in Russian has to be, when they are used with a noun, has to be of the same gender form, and also have to be either singular or plural, depending on what form the noun is. So let us first write down all of the gender forms and plural forms of these two adjectives. So, as you might know, Russian adjectives that you can encounter in Russian dictionaries are always in the masculine gender form. The masculine gender form of Russian nouns and also adjectives is the default one. So the masculine gender is the basic form of a noun or an adjective in Russian. So the forms that we can see here is of course the masculine form, because I of course gave you the default form of these adjectives. So горячий is the masculine form of this adjective. Let us write this down. It is горячий. And холодный is the masculine form also. Холодный. So these forms have to be used with the nouns of the masculine gender. Next, let's talk about the feminine gender of these adjectives. So горячий in its feminine gender form will be горячая. Горячая. That is the feminine gender. And холодный in its feminine gender form will be холодная. So the feminine gender form of these adjectives has to be used with the nouns of the feminine gender as well. Now let us talk about the neuter form. The neuter form of the adjective горячий will be горячее. Горячие. And холодный in its neuter gender form will be холодное. Neuter gender adjectives have to be used with the nouns of the neuter gender form as well. And adjectives in Russian also have plural forms, and plural forms of Russian adjectives have to be used with the nouns in their plural forms as well. So the plural form of the adjective горячий, hot, will be горячие. And the plural form of the adjective холодный will be холодные. 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 So the plural forms, as I told you, is used with the plural forms of nouns. So now let us talk about some examples of using these all of these forms of these adjectives in some phrases. And let us start with the adjective горячий. So here you can see some phrases, some examples of phrases with the adjective горячий in its masculine form. So here are some phrases that I've written down for you. And when we're talking about what things can be hot, what things can be горячий, it can be in the literal meaning, like when it is hot to touch. Like, for example, горячий кофе, meaning hot coffee. And coffee is, of course, can be hot. So that is the literal way of using this adjective горячий. Take notice that coffee, no matter that it is ending in the vowel ye, it is not a neuter gender noun, it is a noun of a masculine gender. Hence, it has to be used with the adjective of the masculine gender, горячий. Горячий coffee, meaning hot coffee. Next, we have also the literal meaning of the word of the adjective горячий, and here горячий шоколад, meaning hot chocolate. It is a very tasty hot drink, as you know, and it is a literal way of using the adjective горячий. So it can be hot, very, very hot. And now the last two examples are the ways of where the examples where the adjective горячий is used in its figurative meaning. So here we have горячий поцелуй. Горячий поцелуй. Горячий, of course, means hot, and поцелуй means kiss. So it means hot kiss, and in this case, it is a kiss that is, of course, not hot on the touch, not горячий in its literal sense, but it is in the figurative sense, meaning like a passionate one, like a kiss with some passion. So that is the example of a figurative use of the adjective горячий. And the last example is also similar, which is горячий привет. You know that привет means hello. So a hot hello, meaning like a passionate way of saying hello. Like when you are quite excited to meet a person, you will say it with more feeling, like привет, hello, or I'm so glad to see you. So in that sense, the hello will be can be hot, but this phrase горячий привет is actually not the phrase that is used in the spoken conversation, but it is a phrase which has been used a lot in some letters. For example, when when people write to another person saying, I sent to you a hot hello, я шлю тебе горячий привет, meaning like it is more like a phrase that it is used in the written conversations rather than in the spoken ones. So that is also a very interesting phrase that I suggest you learn and maybe use if you are having some written writing letters or in messages to a Russian-speaking person, sending this person a hot hello, горячий привет. So that is the examples with the masculine gender form of the adjective горячий. Now let us move on to the feminine gender form examples. So here you can see the examples of the using of the adjective горячий in its feminine form, which is горячая. And again, we can go with the literal meaning of the adjective горячий, hot, and we also can be using it with some things that are hot to the touch. And in this case, we have to take notice that the noun has to be of the feminine gender. So I made an example with the word вода, meaning water. Вода is of the feminine gender. So here we have горячая вода, meaning hot water. Of course, water can be hot in the literal meaning. So that is your example of the literal meaning using the adjective горячая, горячий. Next, we have three examples where we are using the adjective горячий, горячая, in its figurative sense. So here we have горячая линия. Linia means a line, and if we translate this phrase fully into English, it will be hotline. And of course, you know what the hotline is. It is the line where you, the telephone line where you call to get some information, like when it is in some advertisements or something, or any events, they have a hotline where people interested can call and ask their questions. So that is the hotline. And here line, of course, is not hot in the literal sense, but in the figurative, meaning that it is very much demanded, this telephone line. Next we have горячая встреча. Встреча is a noun in the feminine gender form, meaning meeting. So the hot meeting, горячая встреча, meaning just like with the kiss and hello, поцелуй and привет, meaning the passionate way of meet a person, like showing that you are very excited to see this person, or also showing your hospitality. So that is the meaning of the phrase горячая встреча. It is a very useful phrase to learn in Russian. And also we have this word, this phrase, which is горячая точка. Точка meaning dot. And dot is hot here, hot dot. Of course, it doesn't make any sense in English, but in Russian, горячая точка is a set expression used to describe a place of the war conflict. So where there are some war events happening, this place is called горячая точка, hot dot. So that is, of course, the figurative meaning, but since there has the figurative meaning, so that is another there's another set expression in Russian that is also will be very important to learn and to know. Now let us move on to the neuter gender examples of the verb горячий. And here are two examples of the neuter gender version of the adjective горячий, горячее. And here the first one is the literal meaning of the word of the adjective горячее, meaning hot to the touch. And here it is горячее блюдо. Блюдо is a noun of a neuter gender as well, and it means dish. So basically it means hot dish. It is like a hot course, hot dish, something that is it is cooked and it is served as hot. And the second example is the way of using the adjective горячий in its figurative meaning, which is горячее сердце. Сердце means heart, so hot heart, meaning hot heart, or like a warm heart, more understandable in English, and basically means a person, if a person has a warm heart, meaning that it is a very passionate or warm as a person, somebody that has a lot of feelings about something, and generally a passionate person. So there are two examples of the noun, of the adjective hot, горячий, in its neuter gender, and let us also write down some examples with its plural form. And the last two examples of the adjective горячий in its plural form are these two. First is the literal meaning of the adjective горячий. Here it is used in the plural form, горячее блюдо. We already know that блюдо is means a course or dish, and here it is in the plural form, and the adjective used with it is of the plural form as well. So горячее блюдо meaning hot courses, and hot courses of course means the hot course but in plural, and горячее блюдо is always this phrase can always be seen in the recipe books when they signify a separate part of the book that gives all of the recipes to hot courses, to горячее блюдо. So that is also a set expression. And the last phrase, which is also a set expression, where the word горячий is used in its figurative sense, and it is горячие клавиши, горячие клавиши, meaning hot keys, and in this case, keys means the keys on the keyboard. And hotkeys in this горячие клавиши means a quick combination of the keys on the keyboard, like Ctrl plus Shift plus C, something like that. Like when you are pressing 2 or 3 keys on the keyboard at the same time to get some, to make some command to the computer. So that is the set expression of this word. So this is the set expression that it will be also great for you to learn. And here the adjective горячий is used in a plural form, just like the noun, and here it means hot, but in a figurative sense. And now let us move on to the adjective холодный and talk about some examples, some phrases with this adjective. So here you can see the phrases with the adjective холодный, cold, in its masculine gender form. The first one, холодный суп, is where the adjective is used in its literal meaning, that is cold to the touch, and here it is холодный суп, soup meaning soup, and of course it can be cold, and it is not tasty, not delicious, of course. So here холодный суп literally means cold soup. And the second example of the adjective холодный, of the phrase with the adjective холодный, is where it is used in its figurative sense, and here it is холодный расчет, and literally it means cold calculation, and it basically means that when you do some calculation without any emotional attachment to it, like just giving just facts. So that is also a set expression that will be great for you to learn. Расчет here is a noun of a masculine gender, hence it is used with the adjective холодный in its masculine gender as well. So there are two examples. Those are two examples of the masculine form of the adjective холодный. And now let's move on to холодная, which is the feminine gender form of this adjective. So here they are, and the first phrase here, холодная вода, is the literal meaning of the adjective холодная. Вода, we already know that вода from here means water, and it can be hot to the touch, and of course it can be cold to the touch. So this phrase means cold water, холодная вода. And the second phrase, it is where the adjective холодный is used in its figurative sense, and it is pronounced as холодная война. Холодная война, война meaning war. It is a noun in its of the adjective in the feminine gender form, which has to be used, of course, with the adjective in its feminine gender form as well, and it translates as Cold War. And of course, you know what Cold War is, and if you don't, please look it up in the Wikipedia. And it basically is a historical period where happened this Cold War, and it is also a set expression that will be very great to know if you are like history. So that will be great. Now let's move on to the neuter gender adjective холодное, and let's write down some examples, some phrases with it as well. So here are the examples of phrases with the neuter gender adjective холодное. First is where it is used in the literal sense, which is cold, like to the feel, to the touch, and it is холодное лето. Лето is summer. It is a noun of the neuter gender, so we're using it with the adjective of the neuter gender as well. So холодное лето meaning cold summer. You know, summers can be most of the times are hot when you are sweating all the time, when the sun is super hot, but there are some very rarely years where when the summer is cold, or like some period during that summer is cold, people tend to say, oh, the summer is so cold, лето холодное, холодное лето. So that is the literal meaning of the adjective холодное. And next we have the figurative meaning of the adjective холодное, which is холодное оружие. It is a set expression which means cold weapon. So that is also where the adjective холодное is used in its figurative meaning, not like to the touch, but some other meaning here. So these two examples of the neuter gender adjective холодный, and now let us write the plural forms of the adjective холодный, which is холодные. So the first example is холодные закуски, and закуски here means snacks or appetizers, and of course they can be either hot or cold in its literal sense, literal meaning. So in that case, it is a set expression which is called appetizers or called snacks. It is something that is served before the main course, so that is called snacks, холодные закуски, called appetizers. And there's also like a separate chapter in the recipe books which is named called холодные закуски, where you can find the recipes to all of these cold snacks or appetizers. So that is the literal meaning of the adjective холодные. Закуски is a noun in a plural form. Here it doesn't matter what gender this noun is because it is plural. Only thing that is that has to concern you is that it is plural, so the adjective has to be plural as well. And now the second example is холодные звонки. Звонки here means calls, that is phone calls, and cold calls, that expression exists in English as well, and it means some phone calls made to find potential clients. And that is something that can be annoying, of course, but that notion exists, so that it is what it is. So here, холодные закуски, literal meaning of the word cold, холодные, and холодные звонки, hot, cold calls, is the figurative meaning of the adjective холодные. So that's it for today's lesson. I know it was quite long and informative, I hope. And these adjectives, as I told you in the beginning, are very commonly used in Russian adjectives, in Russian language, because of course there are a lot of things that you can describe as either горячий, hot, or cold, холодный, both in its literal and figurative meaning. So it will be good for you to learn them. And here you are like doing two things at a time, because you are learning two adjectives there that are connected to each other. Thus, it will be easier for you to remember them. You will learn that they are of the opposite meaning, and of course it will be like a great help for you to know these two. And of course I suggest you learn some of these expressions, because some of them are the set expressions, so it will be great for you to know what they mean if you ever encounter them in either Russian texts or Russian speech. So it will be a great way to make your vocabulary richer. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them down in the commentary section under the video. I'll answer all of your questions. And of course, if you have just any kind of comments, please write them down. And please stay safe, stay healthy, give enough time to your studies. Don't forget to give this video your thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel, so you will not miss out on my further videos. So for now, goodbye, and I'll see you very, very soon in the next video lesson. Bye-bye.